have a seat, and we're just going to talk about musical experiences. Can you hand me that pencil?
Yes.
Okay. Can you see? Okay. So, I know that you are a trumpet player.
Mm-hmm.
Have you done that since middle school?
Yes. 6th grade.
Do you play any other instruments?
Not proficiently, no.
Okay. So you have had overall good musical experience with trumpet playing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And what about like your experiences with singing?
I've only had one experience singing. And are you asking me if it's like a good or a bad experience?
You can tell me if it's good or bad.
Yeah. It was good. It was mostly good.
Okay, was that collegiate choir?
Mm-hmm.
That was last year.
Yeah, last spring.
Spring 2017. What music do you usually like to sing when you do sing?
That's a good question. I like more like chorale style stuff.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Yeah.
Is there like any specific music that you would want to study while working with me?
Honestly, whatever you think is good.
Okay. So what other goals do you have besides like something that you had in mind? Singing, like what personally do you want to work on with your voice?
Well, for one thing, I just want like my voice overall quality to go up, I guess. You know,
Right,
I want to be better at singing. One thing I would love to be able to do better is to sight sing better.
Okay, we can definitely work on that. Improving the voice, and what voice part are you most comfortable with?
Like a baritone, probably.
Baritone. What voice part did you sing in collegiate?
Tenor 1.
Tenor 1.
So I can sing that high, but it's just not very comfortable on my voice.
Okay. We'll do some exercises that can get you more familiar with like what you want to sing, what you feel comfortable singing, what sounds the best too.
Okay.
And I was just gonna let you know my expectations for you
Okay.
would be to spend at least 10 to 15 minutes like looking at the stuff that I assign you. We're gonna be working on exercises. Perhaps next lesson I can assign you a repertoire piece. It'll probably be like a folk song, something just comfortable for you to start with. And also I would work on like exercises, breathing in those practice times, and once I assign the repertoire.
Okay.
And we'll see what all we'll work with. Okay, stand up for me, please. Just do some shoulder roll. Shake out the arms, bend the knees a little bit. Roll the head like this. Kind of like do your head like a bobblehead. Find the point where it's just relaxed, just sitting on the neck. You should feel like a string is pulling like that. So your feet are grounded, but your chest is comfortably high,
Mm-hmm.
and your neck is aligned. Looks good. That's your singer posture. And where's the weight in your feet?
I'd say it's evenly distributed.
Evenly?
Yeah.
Okay, so for me, what works for me is have like 60-40. Like 60 in the balls of the feet, about 40 in the heels.
Okay.
That way you're more grounded. So put all the weight on your heels.
Like right now.
You're not strong. So put it 60-40, balls and heels.
Okay.
A lot more grounded.
Yeah.
Sorry, I pushed you in your first
It's
lesson.
okay. Ah!
Okay, let's do before we do some singing, let's do some breathing exercises. We'll
Right.
breathe. How about in for 4, out for 4. 1, 2, ready, breathe. In, 2, 3, 4. Out, 2, 3, 4. In, 2, 3, 4. Out, 2, 3, 4. Okay, let's try breathe in for 2. Sustain for 2. Do you do sustaining when y'all do breathing exercises?
What do you mean sustain for 2?
Okay,
Just
so I'm gonna demonstrate. I'm gonna breathe in for 2, sustain for 2, out for 4, recover for 2. So watch.
Okay. Okay. So sustain is just your holding.
Mhm.
Oh.
So I'm gonna go on this tangent with breathing before we keep doing it, because breathing with vocal stuff might be different than breathing with instrumental stuff. So there's 4 stages of breathing. Inhale, obviously. Sustain, or suspend. I should say suspend. Exhale, recover.
What's recover?
It's like, okay, you finish a phrase. I know that sometimes in the instrumental world, you cut off a phrase by breathing in instead of just stopping. Do you do that?
Yeah.
So it's not like that with singing. You stop the phrase, and then there's like a brief moment where you recover. Recovery is important for eliminating like any tension that you've developed while singing a phrase. It sets you up for the next breath.
Okay.
So
Okay.
you inhale, suspend, exhale, recover.
Okay.
And you know that you breathe from where?
Diaphragm.
Diaphragm. I would think, so you think down here when you think diaphragm?
I think right here.
Right.
The bottom of the rib cage.
And the thing with breathing with vocal stuff, when we breathe in, it's what we call apagio. When
Okay.
we exhale or we're phonating a phrase, we keep the rib cage and the diaphragm expanded. So instead of immediately going, ah, and like bringing in the diaphragm, we keep it expanded for as long as possible. So it's
Okay.
do you do that?
No.
Okay,
No.
so this is gonna be different.
Mhm.
So how about let's try breathing in for 4. Breathe in for 4. Suspend for 2. Exhale for 4. So
Okay.
in 4, suspend 2, exhale for 4.
Okay.
And when you're exhaling, I want you to keep 1 or 2 hands on the diaphragm and try and keep it expanded as you're breathing.
Okay.
Okay.
Wait, so
Breathe
you,
in.
you want me to keep it expanded as I'm
As you're
breathing
exhaling.
out? Exhale.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Okay.
So in 4, suspend 2, out for 4. 1, 2, ready, breathe in, 2, 3, 4, suspend, 2, out, 2, 3, 4. Let's do that again, but on the exhale, we're going to move it to 8. Exhale for 8.
Okay.
1, 2, ready, breathe in, 2, 3, 4, suspend, out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
That's hard.
Yeah, I'm sure it's different than what you're used to. So,
Oh, way different. Yeah.
so I think we should spend a considerable amount of time on the breathing since it's going to be very different for you. And I think I should get a handout for you to like study, and I can bring that next week.
Okay.
We make a note of that. But let's spend a little more time on breathing exercises. Let's see.
So obviously the diaphragm is going to come in just because that's what it naturally does, but the goal is to
Right.
keep it out as far as I
Yeah,
can.
it's to delay the deflation of it. Like it shouldn't feel like you're forcing it to stay out, but I wouldn't immediately
Yeah.
collapse it.
Yeah. Yeah, that is not something we think about.
Yeah, it was different for me too.
If anything, as you go up in the higher register, you do the opposite. You kind of not
Yeah.
squeeze
So there's,
necessarily,
like-
but because you need fast air, and so you force the air out of your diaphragm. I don't really. That's really the best way I can
So
explain.
there's like necessary tension in an instrument.
Well, just trumpet. I'm talking specifically like lead high trumpet. Like you have to do that.
Hmm.
Yeah, you like turn your body into like a high pressure air thing. Like that's how you get those high notes out.
Okay, so let's do more more breathing exercises. How about just in for 2, out for 8.
Okay.
Let's just don't worry about suspension right now. Let's just work on arpeggio and keeping the diaphragm expanded. So in for 2 and out for 8. 1, 2, ready, breathe in, 2, out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right. Did you feel that expansion? Do you think you did well on keeping it expanded?
I think for the first 4 counts, yes, but then it was just like it just shrunk, and I couldn't do anything about it.
Okay. Maybe that's doing what it needs to do. Let's try it again.
Okay.
1, 2, ready, breathe in, 2, out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. How do you feel that time?
Yeah, no, it feels like once I start running out of air, it's like all the air is down here, and then so it has to come from somewhere. So that's like where it's like deflating then.
Okay. But that's good that you're keeping it expanded for the first 4 counts. That sounds about right.
I made it about 6 counts that time.
Okay. So let's try it again one more time. In for 2 and out for 8. 1, 2, ready, breathe in, 2, out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Great. Okay. Now when you breathe, can you breathe in on like an aw-shaped vowel, like a?
Okay.
So you don't have to.
Okay.
You're breathing very intensely, which is good that you're getting a bunch of breath. But what I learned when I switched to vocal, you don't have to breathe 100%. Like you need to take a breath that while keeping a phrase in mind. So if you see like a long phrase, like, yeah, I need to take a pretty big breath. But sometimes you don't have a huge phrase and you just have to take.
So it doesn't have to
breath.
be 100% each
Right.
time?
So I would think more like 80% breath and
Okay.
not 100%.
Okay.
We'll see how. Let's see how it goes.
Okay.
So in for 2 and out for 8. 1, 2, ready, breathe in, 2, out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. How did you feel?
Different.
Different?
It feels wrong.
Feels wrong?
It doesn't feel right to breathe like that. I mean, I'm not saying you're a liar. I'm just saying like it feels weird. You know?
I understand. Let's try it again. 1, 2, ready, breathe in, 2, out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
I think what I was doing earlier is I'm used to pushing the air out with my diaphragm. That's how you get faster airspeed. That time I just kind of let it out like I was sighing, and I was able to keep the diaphragm out the whole time.
Right. So I wouldn't say keep it relaxed, you know, because you're not just like completely relaxing your body, but I would think suspension, not suspension, but expansion.
I think engaged, but I don't think pushing. That's all
Right.
I'm feeling. Yeah.
Right. So engaged, strong, expanded are the words that we need to think when we think when we're exhaling. So not pushing, not forcing, but strong, expanded. What did you say for that? Engaged. Yes. So let's try it one more time. And breathing in on an ah vowel and exhaling on like a similar, like an o-ish vowel, like. In for 2, out for 8. 1, 2, ready, breathe in, 2, out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Again, 2, ready, breathe in, 2, out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And could you, I noticed that you breathe pretty low. Could you think of the breath coming from here instead of here?
Okay.
1, 2, ready, breathe in, 2, out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. How did that feel?
Different.
Different in what way?
Different as in, it's kind of like you telling me not to breathe 100% and you telling me to breathe 80. it just feels just a little different. Not foreign, but just different.
Okay.
You know, because the reason why it might seem like I'm breathing from here instead of here is because you breathe from like the bottom up instead of like the top down
Right.
or whatever. And so, I mean, I'm filling up 100% just because that's like what my, you know, what do you call it?
Teacher.
Yeah, I mean, everyone has always told me to do. So,
Right.
of course I
Okay.
have it. Of course I have it.
All right. Okay. So now that we've covered a little bit of time on the breathing, I want to at least do some vocalizing before the lesson is up. Do you know how much time we have left?
That's, we have 15 minutes.
Okay. So let's work on where we are as a singer.
Okay.
Let's start with. How about ma, ma, ma?
On Ma?
Yeah, in your octave. 1, 2, ready, and.
Sorry, I have like, you know, my throat.
It's okay.
It's the morning time.
Yeah, I hardly ever sing this early. Oops. Back up. Alright, quick do a posture check. I would keep your. I mean, you don't really need to look at this. Just like look straight ahead. 1, 2, ready, and. Alright, next, how about.
Just so you know, as low as you went, I'm not sure where that was, but that lowest note, that was just about my max low comfortable.
Right.
Just so you know.
I know. How about C? Ready, and. Try again. Just on Just on. Try it again and just loosen up your body.
Okay.
Just move the whole time you're singing.
Okay.
Ready, and. One more. All right,
Yeah, now I was approaching the my maximum.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. What's next? See ya. 1, 2, ready, and. Sorry. Try this again. Okay, let's go back to. I just want to do some pinna skills. How about oo to o? Two. Do that one again. 1, 2, ready, and back down. Try it again. 1, 2, ready, and Alright. How much time do we have left?
About 6 minutes.
Alright. How about we're gonna go
Is that he or E?
E.
Okay.
1, 2, ready, and can you keep it more connected?
Okay.
'cause you don't have to do it on a pitch, just go So the biggest difference between an E vowel and an ah vowel is just the tongue. So I want you to, when you do an E vowel, it starts with an ah.
Mm-hmm.
A. You just tip the tongue forward.
E. Ah, E.
Ah,
Ah, E. Ah, E. Ah, E. Ah, E.
ah,
Ah, E.
yes.
Ah, E.
So more of
Ah,
an
E. Ah,
O open, rounder E.
Okay.
1, 2, ready, and let's go back down. Okay, again, can you make it more connected? Instead of
Do you? Is it E or E?
E.
Oh, okay. See, that's
That's
what I
my
was
bad.
confused. Okay.
1, 2, ready, and oh, I'd play that wrong. Let's try it again. 1, 2, ready, and Alright, so
Tongue feels numb.
your tongue feels numb?
Tongue feels numb.
It's numb?
Yeah, I don't know. Is that normal?
No. You're a freak. No, I'm just kidding. Maybe, does it feel tense when you're singing?
No, I think it's because like I'm moving my tongue around, like trying to find out like where it's supposed to sit.
Uh-huh. So you're,
Because I don't know why else it would feel numb right now.
so most of the time, your tongue, it's relaxed. So don't worry about it, like, moving so much.
Mhm.
The biggest articulator is like your jaw and your hard palate, which is the top of your mouth, and the soft palate, which is towards the back. So think about when you're singing, don't think about your tongue moving around so much. So like the only time it is moving, you know, is like when you're articulating like vowels, like I, and of course obviously when you say words, but it's not a huge articulator.
Okay.
So how do you feel after your first lesson?
That was probably the first time I've ever actually warmed up my voice. And I'm telling you, after we warmed up, I know I can't sing as high as I thought I could. I can sing that high, but like as we kept going up, like as the exercises kept going, it was I could feel it straining.
I could tell.
Yeah, and then as you went lower, it was so much better. So
Okay.
yeah.
So let me give you this handout, and it's got some good reading materials in it about how the voice works and all the muscles in it, and your larynx and your vocal cords and how they work. We didn't get to work on this really. I want you to work on exercises on page 19. That was the